I said I was going to do another video. It's been about how long, Caleb, have we been using Valvoline Restore and Protect?
It's been a while.
It's been over a year.
Testing our real world environments on the consumers that are using us for auto repairs and maintenance, and not necessarily our regular customer. And we find high fuel dilution, high oil consumption in a lot of people's vehicles. And why? Because they've been using the wrong oil in South Jersey, Philadelphia, lower New York, wherever it doesn't dip into the negative temperatures. What would you say, Caleb, in South Jersey, the coldest it's ever been here in the last 10 years? Has it ever dipped into a negative 5?
We probably hit 0.
I was gonna say
A 0 with the wind chill.
Negative 1 or 2.
But that is not for a long period of time.
With wind chill, we've hit negative 40s.
Oh yeah.
With
With
wind
wind chill,
chill.
we've
With
gone
wind
down.
chill.
But it's never been a sustained period of time. It's been maybe a few hours,
No, there were a couple days, I want to say a couple winters ago, where
probably 10 years ago, 5 years ago. Not
something
recent.
like that, where well, you just said in
But
the
like
last
you
10 years.
just said with the global part of what we were doing about what parts of the world are experiencing negative temperatures, and you're saying it's not a whole lot.
It may have been a few days, like 2 or 3.
But anyway, once we identify what's going on in people's vehicles here,
Yeah,
well, I was
with-
close, about 10 years ago.
With no, saying where during major surveys like February 2015, but generally stayed above the state's historic record lows, like negative 34.
All right, so put in what's the average South Jersey.
Expect lows in the 0 to 10 degree range during severe cold.
Which it really hasn't done. Expect. Like,
Yeah, I mean, we've hit the teens a couple times this year, but it wasn't.
right. So typically, we dabble in the non-020 range for using the right oil in South Jersey. So 520, 530, 1030.
This is South Jersey.
South Jersey. Yeah. So it's all about where your vehicle is being used. And if you get a vehicle that comes from a winter environment all the time, and you bring it to this area, you need to change your oil up. It's about Valvoline Restore and Protect. How I learned about Valvoline Restore and Protect is obviously from infomercials and commercials. We never had a Valvoline guy come out here and educate us on their products. Never had any oil manufacturer, oil salesman, anyone come out here and teach me about how oil works. I've only learned in the industry by what's in the bees. What race oil do I use for my car? In my engine, my race engines with 0-30, and then after a couple of passes or a couple of road tests or a couple heavy hits, I dump $100 worth of oil into the oil bucket, change the filters, and go at it again. I do not run my oil in my race engines season after season or weeks after weeks. Couple hits, it's out. Why? It's not tuned for efficiency, it's tuned for power. Back to the customer cars that we identify oil consumption, poor maintenance practices, the wrong oil, based on some product sales impressions, and Lake Ski Jr., the oil geek, testing or being part of a test in some lab that they said that Valvoline Restore and Protect is the this is their second generation of an oil that cleans. Their first one was very aggressive, but it wasn't very consumer friendly. Aggressive means that it cleaned so well that it caused probably more problems for someone who doesn't know what's going on in their engine. I don't even know if that product's available anymore. But then they came out with a milder version that doesn't have that aggressive clean, and actually it has worked here in a few cases. There's no oil that's going to fix mechanical wear or damaged and worn out parts. Your engine is very, very resilient, meaning it could still run with a rod knock and things out of spec and stuck piston rings and scored cylinder walls, but there's going to be adverse effects. We've only had a few people with not the outcome that we all anticipated. And remember, it's just a test. We're just the doctors testing our environment. That we have saved consumers from engine replacement, but only after us testing what the engine likes. And it wasn't using 030 or an 020 or an 08 or a 016. We typically dabbled into 520 Valvoline Restore and Protect and 530 when it was available, and it's more available now here in Cinnamints and Walmart in the jug, and I didn't really see many quarts. That if you have a little bit of a problem, and it's because you've been pressing your oil changes a little over, and you have varnish and sticky rings and sticky lifters, this stuff does a good job. And we've only had a few people that we've put on this program of, I'm going to call oil the medicine, right? That we pulled them off the Valvoline Restore and Protect to where we got the oil consumption under control, and they're now back on a 520 or a 530 regimen without any issues, as long as they stay within our 3,000 mile oil change recommendations, that we now have control of it for now. And then when the customer or the driver or operator steps out of where the engine seems to be happy, just like I did another video yesterday, that you push this engine to 5,000 miles on a 520 Valvoline Restore and Protect, it's burning the oil. The mechanical wear is pretty much past its limits in your engine for you to run your oil changes 5,000 or 8,000 miles, or even 10,000 miles. And what your results are is not your buddy's results and anyone else around the world. I've said this before. Pick any vehicle that is brand new and stick, I don't know, put 100 people in those cars and deposit them all around the world and stick one oil weight, winter and viscosity in that car. You're going to have 100 different results. You're going to have a couple that are probably close, but you're going to have more not close than they are close, because no one's going to change the oil at 3,000 miles. They're probably going to go 8 to 10. They're going to use cheap gas and do no maintenance. And every engine is not the same, even though it's coming off the same assembly line. They're not the same. There's variations in everything. Then we've also had engines that we've advised the customer, like, hey, you got 280,000 miles on this car. You're not our regular customer. You haven't been advised. I pull your stick the first time you come in for an oil change with your 280,000 mile car, and there's not a lick of oil on the stick, and the stick has sludge burned crud marks past the full mark. This engine's got issues. Sure sign that your engine's got issues. Gasoline engine. We advise, I think we did one Valvoline Restore and Protect.
I don't know who you're talking about.
The car we did the restoration on, we got the JDM motor swap.
Oh, yeah.
And he's already like, how long is this engine going to last? I'm shocked it lasts this long with you going to Pep Boys for maintenance. So once we educated him about what's going on about his car, he was like, dude, you guys are my mechanics from here on on. We actually wound up restoring that car.
Yeah. It was 10th generation Lancer.
Yeah, Lancer, non-turbo. And it still has the original trans in it, believe that or not. That his second Valvoline Restore and Protect engine, we released and loosened, and this is just what I suspect, so much material that it started to leave the chunkies and shit into the sump. Now, he already had some engine noise that we already knew was burning oil. We warned him, like, hey, this is a risk. And he's like, hey, dude, I plan on restoring this. You know, if I could save the engine and keep it going, let's do it. If not, I planned on putting an engine in it. Would you guys put an engine in? We're like, yeah. The second Valvoline Restore and Protect loosened so much sludge and scale and shit in his engine, I believe it restricted the sump and took the bottom end out. Guy really didn't care too much because he already knew that it's the end of its useful life.
It was a Hail Mary.
It was a Hail Mary at that point. He wants to restore it. He doesn't want to deal with oil consumption. He doesn't want to have to deal with checking his oil every week. And that's what happened. So that is the downside of Valvoline Restore and Protect. If you got a shit monster engine, meaning it's full of sludge, carbon deposits, sticky, gooey shit, Valvoline Restore and Protect could be the answer for you, guaranteeing an engine replacement. If your engine was varnishy and dirty like this one, there was more on the valve covers than was inside the engine, that you still run the risk of Valvoline Restore and Protect loosening those chunkies and clogging up your VVT screens. If you have a Honda, VTEC solenoids, VCT screens, and your sumps. The oil isn't the problem. It's you and your vehicle is the problem, and the inside conditions of the engine and its environment. And then after 4 Valvoline Restore and Protects, and the customer doesn't stay on the 3,000 mile oil change regimen here with us, if they do not follow what we say stop wasting our time, don't waste your time, don't waste the money, we can't help you anymore, you need an engine if you can't stick to the prescription. And we've had a couple people like that, like, hey, you can't, we already told you that we found the sweet spot, you need to stay here for a 3K oil change, or you don't need Valvoline Restore and Protect anymore, we're gonna go back to a 520 or a 530, but still keep the 3,000 mile oil changes up, because we don't need that cleaning power after 4 or 5 Valvoline Restore and Protect oil changes, based on our experience. Problem is getting the customer to cement the agreement that they're gonna do the 3Ks and come in and let us keep an eye on it. Or they should just say, yeah, put an engine in it, but who wants to just put an engine in? We have people that have so much mechanical failure. Anyway, back to that. If they can't follow what we say here about the Valvoline Restore and Protect, as it even goes for cars that we don't identify engine oil problems for 3,000 miles, we just document. Customer is not following what we're saying here. This way, if they ever come to me and say, why is my engine now burning oil? We're like, you keep pushing this oil 5,000 and 10,000 miles, it's your fault. We're gonna give you the sweet spot, you know, here in South Jersey to have a reliable engine, a more reliable engine, and you don't want to follow the prescription. But most people who are smart, like the lady with the Honda was like, yeah, dude, I got 230,000 miles on this car. I don't want to put an engine in it. But if I can come here every 3,000 miles and change the oil and not be burning 2 or 3 quarts of oil, sign me up. So smart for them. There will come a point where I'll pull her off of the Valvoline Restore and Protect program if she stays at the 3,000 mile interval marks, and then we'll test a 520 or 530 and say, can she go 3,000 miles on just our base stock, which is our synthetic blend, or do we need to just keep her in a full synthetic? That's what Valvoline Restore and Protect is. So if they can't follow the prescription, we're very upfront. We're very, hey, stop wasting my time, stop wasting your time and money. We'll still change your oils, but you know, catastrophic failure is going to happen sooner or later. Better you be on a strict regimen and diet than not. And then we have the consumers who are on board with checking their oil weekly, and they're okay with adding oil to their car. Once Valvoline Restore and Protect proves to me that mechanical wear is far past any oil products, we advise the customer just to top their own oil and still come in for 3,000 mile oil changes. I have guys that still, you know, push their oil changes past that. But typically we just say, hey, if you can't come in here every 5,000 miles, every 3,000 miles, and check your own oil, this is a recipe for disaster. And then we have, you know, the people we pulled off Valvoline Restore and Protect, and we were able to, you know, get control of what's going on in the environment that they use it in and the wear that's going on inside their engine and damage based on our knowledge and experience. Like I said, we pulled a few people off Valvoline Restore and Protect because now they're on the program and they don't need Valvoline Restore and Protect, but their engines weren't disasters. So there is a warning for you trying to use Valvoline Restore and Protect. So I gave you the skinny, right? It's the good, the extremely bad, and then the in-between bad is like, hey, Valvoline Restore and Protect can't fix your internal wear issues, even if you inherited them or you caused them. And I hope you guys liked all that content, and I don't know if anyone else out there has used Valvoline Restore and Protect for as long as we have and as many different vehicles with problems. Please comment. So I'm sure there's somebody out there that they've lost an engine, and it's not the oil's fault. You asked the oil to do a job for you, and it did the job. Is there milder detergents that you can use? Yeah, you could use the old school transmission fluid trick. I've done that for varnish and sticky lifters and things like that. There is nothing going to clean a VCT screen on a Honda or a VVT solenoid screens, those micro screens. Nothing. They got to come apart and be looked at. And typically when we pull them apart, Caleb, what do they look like? Full of metal, clogged with baked on oil because it's been starved, ran low on oil so many times. That mechanical wear is so bad. And if we have some time and chain codes and the customer can't afford a time and chain or engine, we will pull the VVTs and replace them and say, hey, this is just an affordable shot to see if that engine can gain control of that timing. And if it can't, it is what it is. It's either you commit to VVTs, cam phasers, time and chain, tensioners,
This happened
guides.
yesterday.
Yeah, so we had that Toyota here that came back with a time and chain code on one bank, 180,000 miles. And I said, we just did one VVT on the bank to see if we can't get that motor to gain control of the timing, and the time and chain and phaser is 2 more. Sometimes it's a Hail Mary and a simple fix, and then unfortunately for most people, you need a time and chain and phasers and guides, and at least you don't need a VVT on bank 1 now. But that's what. How many Toyotas do we ever see for shit like that? None. That's overextended oil changes doing that right there. Time and chain rattles on start.
Most of the time it's the Chevy EcoTex.
All from overextended oil changes. All right, so thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the content. Please give us some feedback on your experience with Valvoline Restore and Protect. I can only give you the real deal, in the trench, Holyfield, what goes on in my shop. After lunch today, I'm going to get the engine and transmission in this beast. Hopefully within a week or 2, it'll be up and running, and we're going to get it back to the dyno and see if we can't lay down our 1,200 horsepower number. We already know the engine made near 900 to the flywheel and over 700 to the tires.
So the flywheel don't mean shit.
Well, put 900 to your flywheel, it means a lot.
No, not at all. Not those at the tire.
With the changes to the motor, I upgraded the cylinder heads from cathedral port to square port LS3 heads. The valve train is full roller now from, who's that place that just sold their business?
What, the training place?
Nah, the cam place, dude.
I have no idea.
What the hell's their name? You buy parts from them.
I was gonna say Texas Speed.
No.
So BTR.
BTR. So
I didn't know it was
BTR full roller rocker arms. With the cylinder heads and rocker arms, we had to change the push rod length. Same turbo grind cam. The engine was bored over a little bit more. So the original was a 408. I don't know what a little bore over is with this spec. I'm not going to do the math. Yeah, so I'm excited. Hopefully I have the motivation after lunch today to come here and get the motor in, get the transmission in, recheck everything and clearances for torque converter spacing. And then if you guys haven't seen the work here that I've done, this is all done by me. This is a 8.8 Mustang swap, all custom fit by me. Mini tubs by me. Sway bar, the Gangster G-body lean, Camaro rear disc brake conversion, C4 front calipers custom fit to the back, CTSV calipers in the front. A lot of custom fit work here on this car. I don't run the factory cross member. I have a custom roll cage, custom bent. I actually probably could change it because I don't run an exhaust. I could probably just change it up, but I'm not. C4 aluminum spindle, CTSV brakes, custom fit Corvette rotors in the front, air conditioning, Mustang rack and pinion. So start getting back to paying the bills here. Thanks for watching.